Uruguay's ex-president Jose Mujica has died at the age of 89. That was after losing his battle with cancer. Mujica, widely known as Pepe, was the president of Uruguay between 2010 and 2015. He transformed the country through progressive social reforms. Mujica was known for his humble lifestyle. He gave up the presidential palace to live on a farm, donated most of his salary, and drove an old Volkswagen Beetle. He legalized same-sex marriage and marijuana. And for more, I'm joined now by journalist Guillermo Garat in Montevideo. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
So tell us more about Mujica's life. He started off as a guerrilla fighter to then later become president. How did he make this transformation?
Well, it's a really interesting transformation that began in the past century. Mujica gets involved in politics in the 1950s with another political movement. But in the 60s, with all this wave of revolutionary left in Latin America, he joined, actually he was a leader of the guerrilla, of the Tupamaros guerrilla, which was a guerrilla defeated in the 70s by a military coup in Uruguay. When Uruguay regained democracy in 1985, Mujica started to build this new movement, a democratic movement, and he started gaining a lot of popularity in the 90s, where he was elected as a representative in the Congress, and then he was elected as a senator. And when the left, the Broad Front, a coalition of movements in the left, came to power in 2005, he was a minister of agriculture, and that was one of his main preoccupations all this year, to give to Uruguay a new, say, footprint in the global market for stock, for agriculture. And at that time, he was a global figure. When he became president in 2010, he started to become a global figure, which was and still is something really different in Uruguay, because as a country in the south, a really tiny country with 3 million inhabitants, Mujica was a figure that, let's say, it was an ambassador for the image of the country.
Right. Well, his image was really pronounced. This way of holding himself, the fact that he lived like a poor Uruguayan rather than the president of the country. But a lot of his critics at home often say that he charmed the world with his humble lifestyle, but that Uruguay didn't benefit from his presidency. So, what do you think, all in all, will be the legacy of Mujica in Uruguay?
Well, there are different impacts in Mujica's, let's say, legacy in the country. I could say some things in a few seconds, but for example, during Mujica's term, Uruguay became, in terms of inequality, the lowest country in Latin America with inequality. Also, for example, under his administration, Uruguay became the second largest renewable electricity producer after Denmark. He also, I think he ruled for the people, and he made several progresses, for example, in poverty. As you mentioned, he donated a considerable part of his salary for building houses, but also he settled a way of doing politics, a way of doing a political dialogue with, for example, opponents, and which was not accustomed here. And I think that, like, the legacy is also a culture of political dialogue, dialogue in these days.
Okay, journalist Guillermo Garat in Montevideo, many thanks for your insights.
Thank you.